Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this marvellous, marvellous Monday. And you're looking marvellous, by the way. I think you should know that, and I'm here to tell you that. But we're going to get straight into the meat and potatoes because I'm conscious that this is video 3 of 3. So the likelihood is you're probably a little bit fed up with listening to me already because we did the live, then I've done another one, and this is, like I say, video 3. Or no one's going to see it anyway because YouTube just won't tell anyone that I've actually did it. So I could just be talking to myself for the next few minutes. But we're talking about Caleb Harris. Caleb Harris, the 21-year-old Corpus Christi student who vanished off the face of the planet, like I've said before, like a fart in the wind. And there seems to be some controversy starting to erupt around this case. Gray Hughes was the person who originally did a video, I believe. Other people may have done. That was the one that I got told about, and what I saw subsequently on Reddit, as people have said that he's doing God's work. I think they were being sarcastic, and this is what we're talking about. So Gray was doing God's work last night by screening Caleb Harris's meant-to-be anonymous posts on some gay hookup subreddit. Mighty embarrassing if it's not his account, and a breach of privacy if it is. Way to humiliate missing people, jackass. But look, yeah, so what they're basically saying is we've got this account, which they're saying is indeed Caleb Harris's. There's not really any massive way of, at this point, in knowing whether it is or not, but that's what's being pushed, is that this lad was involved in trying to arrange hookups. Do you know what I mean? And what I will say is, each to their own. Each to their own. As long as you're keeping yourself safe and others safe and what you're doing isn't harming anyone and you're being careful, then so be it, each to their own. But what we do know is we live in a fucked up world. And in this fucked up world, you can get yourself into issues very, very quickly by utilising online facilities in order to facilitate certain things. And you have to be very careful, and you have to be aware of what dangers there are out there. And when you look at what happened to Caleb Harris, literally the fact that he's vanished off the face of the planet, there's only certain things that could have happened. And one of the things that we did consider is to whether Caleb could have potentially been taken from the scene. But it does make a huge amount of sense when you look into what is going on around the case, and if you try to factor in, perhaps he had arranged to go and meet someone. He had arranged a contactless delivery, which in my mind means that he arranged the delivery that he potentially thought, I may not be here, and I don't want him knocking on the door and rousing the people in the house. Now, they've said that it was quite normal for him to do a contactless delivery, and it's a normal thing, but I try to think about everything, get into the details of it, and I think if you was arranging a delivery and you thought you may not be around to grab it when it turns up, you would do contactless, and you think it wasn't food for now, it was food for his fishing trips. There wasn't anything that was going to spoil it, would have been okay, and he's gone outside and he's vanished. Now, we've also got to factor in that his friends called law enforcement. They called law enforcement. They didn't call the family, they called law enforcement. That makes me wonder whether they felt that perhaps family may have asked a few probing questions and they may have been put into a situation where they would have had to have divulged some personal information that perhaps a family wouldn't have wanted to have known. So they felt law enforcement was perhaps a better angle. So did Caleb Harris arrange to meet someone off of this kind of hookup thing, and did this situation turn into something a lot more nefarious? I'd like you to let me know down below, because that to me seems to make a massive, massive amount of sense. And the more I think about it, the more I have this worry that I can imagine him talking to someone online who's not as they said they're going to be. Their intention is not as they've said it is, and he has gone out there and thought he could jump in the car, perhaps go around a corner, whatever, and he's got himself into a predicament and they've taken him away from the scene. I do hope that doesn't necessarily mean that he has come to any harm that is not irreversible and he could be returned, but as time goes on, we run out of that hope fades. But there is always hope until we know otherwise. But I also want to touch on one other thing that has been brought to my attention by multiple people in email, and that is reference to a GoFundMe situation. GoFundMe's been set up, and people are questioning, saying, look, there's two GoFundMes. One's by Tony, which is a friend of Randy, the father, and he's done one, and we've got this one by Emily as well. Between them, they've raised approximately $90,000. And they're saying that that's for helping to alleviate financial pressure so that they can concentrate on the searching for the son. And people said, but hold on a second, because the actual search party who was out there searching are a not-for-profit organisation. So they're doing it for free. So what is the money being spent on? I think it's important to understand that it's like what I said in the Sebastian Rogers situation when I was trying to stick up for the parents, who I now feel that the more I think about that situation, the more that mum especially and stepdad, the amount of skeletons that have fallen out of the closet and crushed everyone in the vicinity, I'm not quite on the same path as that. But what I said was, people have financial commitments. They need to go to work, they've got bills to pay, they've got rent to pay, mortgages to pay, whatever, and things don't stop in time. So I do understand this, and I do feel that this does give an alleviance to the pressure that can build up and takes that off, so they can indeed concentrate without thinking, I've got bills to pay, this is going to happen, I need to get to work, I need to earn money, I need to do this, that and the other. So I do get that. So I don't think there's anything nefarious in terms of the GoFundMe situation in this. And I continue to believe that the family around Caleb have got all the best intentions, and that with this latest information, reference what Caleb could have potentially been doing in the background and potentially arranging to hook up with people, it's growing ever more apparent that this is potentially a very, very serious factor that needs to be considered. I don't know how you people feel about it out there in the community. Have you heard about it? Is this the first you're hearing about it? Again, let me know down below. But just to be clear, what we're saying is there's a potential that Caleb was involved in arranging hookups with both males, both females, and he would go off and he would do his thing. And even though I can't 100% confirm to you that this is correct, that the accounts are correct, other people have said that it has been confirmed as being his. But again, take it with a pinch of salt. But if it is true, it does make a lot of sense. And again, when you factor in some of the little intricacies around this with respect of who was called and how the food was delivered and it'd gone, and, perhaps not chucking any shoes on because he was just going to hop into a car perhaps, it does make a lot of sense. And I do concern and worry myself over that. And what I would say is, even if that's not a thing, I think it's important to understand that this is something that happens. This is the sort of thing that youngsters, teenagers, young adults are doing all the time. They are utilising online facilities to facilitate proclivities that they have, and it can put them in dangerous situations. And I think it's important as parents to speak to your children. If you've got friends who utilise these sort of things, then speak to them about the dangers and have something set up, so in the event that something goes wrong, you have a backup, you have some way of getting yourself out of a situation. And just be vigilant. Be incredibly vigilant, because, again, I just concern myself that this is potentially what we're looking at. But let me know down below what you think, and I'll catch you all in the next one.